There we go.
Got it.
Great. You've got it. Is that good? Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing this morning.
Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Cohasset Select Board meeting, Tuesday, June 16th at 7 p.m. at 91 Sawyer Street, Wilcott Commons. You can also view it on Zoom, Facebook, online, and of course on our 143 TV. So to open up the meeting, I'll take a roll call from the board.
Ellen Mar present.
David Frog present.
Greg Watts present.
Will Ashton present.
And if you would all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next part of the agenda before we go in executive session would be the public comment period. I would tell everybody here tonight that if you're here for the Wheelwright Park on both parts of the agenda, that generally speaking, the select board meeting is a meeting in public, but not necessarily public meeting. But for that, I think to facilitate better conversation, we will open it up if people want their comments then, or if they want to talk about it then. Some people might want to make their comment and go home, or if they have other obligations. So if that is the case, you're welcome to come up and make your comment. But if you do save them, we can get to them at the 7:35 and 7:45 when we come out. So does anybody have any public comments, either here or online? Yes, if you could please come up and state your name and address, and then press the button to it should turn red. Thank you so much.
Is it working?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Barbara Wren, 44 Black Rock Road. I might be here for the discussion, but in case I'm not.
Sure.
Just regarding Wheelwright, since the town meeting, I had learned from someone in the industry that there is the possibility to have, they're called small cell antennas for geographically tricky areas. And I don't know if you're aware, there is one at Rocky Beach, which I didn't know. And I live on Black Rock, and we now have cell service. So I know that you're in a bind. I know that you have a contract that you've signed and that you'd be in breach of contract. But I would just ask that, and I don't know if you've discussed it, whether or not you could, reimburse the utility company for any outlays, for any surveys and whatnot, and renegotiate a contract with them for these small cell antennas. I think that the size of our town, the destruction of the park. I mean, this cell tower would be 17 stories tall. I feel like it will ruin our town, just the way, the aesthetics, and it will also destroy the park. So I would just respectfully ask if there is any way that you could renegotiate the contract. I think that I can't speak for everyone in town, but I think most people would prefer to have the small cell units that can go down Jerusalem and Atlantic on telephone poles and Linden, rather than this mammoth, which I feel is really just going to be an eyesore, not to mention the destruction. So thank you for taking my comments. And again, I know you're really in a bind, but I hope that you'll do the right thing and preserve the park. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else on public comments or out in Zoom world? Oh, did you? Yes, please come forward. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marianne Weatherall from 49 Redgate Lane, and I'm here to talk about the cell phone tower. I wanted to recount the minutes that this was discussed by Chris Sr. in December of 2022, and I'm just going to read back the minutes from that section. He says, "We've been working actively with all the cell carriers, particularly Verizon and AT&T, to look at the gaps in coverage, and that hole in the north side of town is very problematic, particularly as you go down towards the ocean. And this site has been identified in Wheelwright Park that there might be work, and it's kind of tucked away. There's a lot more work that will have to be done. That this is the first step towards that is allow the town to work towards identifying and finalizing that site with the carriers, and then swapping us little piece of land in another location If we need to do that, any further action would have to come back before town meeting if we lease the land or got a carrier. So this is not the last bite. This is only the first bite at moving this project forward. So I just want to reiterate that at that discussion, when it was voted on, it said that it was going to be re-presented back to the town to vote on this piece of land. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anything else in the audience? Oh, please, yeah.
Sorry.
No, no.
No notes. So I just wanted to make a couple of points.
Just first your name and address, please.
Virginia Ann Brophy, 16 Beechwood Street. So my first point is that I believe, I don't have a citation in front of me, that in order for the town to convey any land, town-owned land or easement, they need a vote at town meeting. Now, it's my understanding that you're saying that there is an earlier vote, I'm not sure what the date was, where that authorization was provided. I would say that it merits a closer look at what was specifically authorized, because my understanding is that it wasn't necessarily conveyance of town-owned land, that they were voting on something else, or they thought they were. If, in fact, they didn't specifically authorize this board to convey land at that town meeting, then you haven't had the requisite vote to convey that land, which means that entering into that contract couldn't possibly be legal because you didn't have the authority to do so. The other point that I'd like to make is that the most recent meeting that we had at town, your constituents that you represent all clearly stated, including the ones whose cell coverage would be improved with this, that they don't want it. So I would imagine that you're working diligently to extricate yourself from this contract that may or may not be legal. The other point that was raised at town meeting is that this is old technology, that it's extremely expensive technology, that there's newer technology that would be significantly less expensive and not invasive at all. And finally, I think this is my final point, and that is that this land was given to this town in good faith, that the town would protect this crown jewel. And I don't know if you've been reading the news, but our crown jewels throughout the country are disappearing fast. And I would encourage you to think long and hard about following through on this contract. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Can I just ask a question, please?
Well, public comment is just for comment, but if you did have a question, you could save it for the other portion.
I wanted to just understand the difference between speaking now and speaking at the end. I was confused.
Well, because we'll be talking about Wheelwright Park, so the board will give their comments, and if the people had any after they're illuminated by the board with some things they might, we can have a better discussion, I think, which would be better for both the public and the board.
Thank you.
Hi, Adam Norman, 88 Doan Street.
Sure.
So I'm the citizen who filed the citizens petition at the May town meeting, Article 25, to uphold the intent of the Wheelwright family to preserve the land in Wheelwright Park for passive public recreation. I'm here tonight to represent the Open Space and Recreation Committee because we are deeply concerned that the town is considering moving forward with this cell tower project in Wheelwright, despite the decisive vote at the town meeting last month that rejected its use. The land was donated explicitly through multiple wills and the 1917 deed to be held in trust as a public park preserved in its natural state, and the cell tower does not meet that standard. The will of the town is very clear by the vote of 199 to 30 to uphold that intent. And if we ignore these will of the town, it risks undermining both our legal obligations and the public trust. So just want to urge the select board to honor the wishes of the donors, respect the town's vote, and pursue an alternative solution to the gaps in the cell coverage. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else from the audience before I look at Zoom? Anybody on Zoom had a comment? Oh, okay. With that being said, we'll carry on because we're gonna. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I said it. Yes.
My name is Alix White. I live at 25 James Lane. My grandfather, my great aunt, and my great uncle worked diligently to protect different portions of Holly Hill Farm, which abuts Wheelwright Park. And it took them at least 30 years to pull that gift. It wasn't a gift, it's a conservation restriction. The Wheelwrights made a gift, and I know how hard my family worked to protect their land and to preserve it for generations to come as open land. And I know that because of what they did, that the Wheelwrights have done something very similar that shouldn't sunset after 30 years, and it shouldn't. It was meant to be open space, and I just wanted to let you know how that's no small thing. That there isn't more land. That what my family did was not. That was not a small thing. That was a big decision. And I know that the Wheelwrights did that too. That they didn't want it chopped up and broken up. That's all. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anybody in Zoom? I'll say one last time. Last call. Okay, great, thank you. So that'll end the public comment period. So go into executive session, and when we read off the executive session, unfortunately, then we'll come back out. So we'll have some time there.
Dave, there is some.
Oh, from Zoom? Okay, please, if you could just.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please, just name and address.
My name is Arthur White, 226 Jerusalem Road, which is Holly Hill Farm, and it is also the Cornelia and Richardson White Woods property. So thank you for listening to me. I am a cousin of Alix. I'm one of the co-owners of the Cornelia and Richardson White Woods, as well as a co-owner of the land that comprises Holly Hill Farm. I want to be clear that I support reliable communications infrastructure and recognize the importance of public safety and cellular service. This is not an argument against the cell tower somewhere in town. I also recognize that the town has invested considerable time and effort in this project, and I do not minimize those commitments. My concern is with this particular location and with the process by which it is being advanced. Wheelwright Park, the Barnes Wildlife Sanctuary, Holly Hill Farm, and the Cornelia and Richardson White Woods together form one of Cohasset's most significant connected natural landscapes. Many residents, and I think I've heard this from people speaking today, experience these lands not as separate parcels, but as a single network of woods, trails, and open space. We make our private land open and available to the public to walk on, as some of you may have found when you walk from Wheelwright Park and you transfer onto the Cornelia and Richardson White Woods, which is right where I believe this project is intended to be situated. The original authorization, as I understand it, occurred before many residents understood where the tower would actually be located. Certainly, I didn't understand that. Once that information became widely known, and at least I learned about it, I noticed the petition or the Article 25, which was voted on, and I think the citizens of Cohasset have expressed a very different view about where they would like the project to be and have voted overwhelmingly in favor of reconsidering this project. So my comment is just to ask, regardless of where one stands on the tower itself, I hope we can agree that when citizens are presented with material information and then express their views so clearly, that judgment deserves serious consideration by you, the select board. And I respectfully urge you and the town to pause and listen carefully to the views of the residents and make the best decision that you can with the information now available before taking this, which is an irreversible step. I thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. As I said, for those who came later or on Zoom later, if you have any public comments regarding Wheelwright Park, we can also take them during the Wheelwright Park section of the agenda for tonight when we come back out of executive session. So if you just came in, you can speak there. So let me read off, and we will head to executive session, then we'll pop out, and then we'll get back to the Wheelwright Park portion of the agenda. And so I make a motion that we head into executive session under pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with any federal or state law requirement. The board will be reviewing the following executive session minutes that are printed in the agenda and determine whether those purposes for such executive session have been resolved and whether any of these can be released. Wait a minute, I got two more to go. We'll go on to executive session number 2, pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 30A. The Select Board will conduct strategy sessions and preparations for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions, contractual negotiations with non-union personnel. The Select Board will negotiate town manager Leary's contract. And then finally, we'll go into executive session under Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law, namely Suffolk Construction versus DCAM case, to discuss whether to waive attorney-client privilege recognized under common law, and if waived, the board could discuss the opinion in open session. The board will discuss counsel's opinion on Wheelwright Park cell tower and whether to release said opinion. That's the motions.
So move. Second.
Seconded by Mr. Ashton. All's in favor? If I could do roll call, please.
Ready.
Ellen Mar, aye.
David Frog, aye.
Greg Watts, aye. Will Ashton, aye.
on Zoom? Great, thank you so much. Okay, we're back out of executive session and then we'll deal with our 7:35 Wheelwright Park legal opinion release, the legal opinion discussion and vote. Is there any discussion after executive session, or should we just proceed to a vote? The board. Do vote. Okay. I'll make a motion that we release the town council opinion dated June 1st, 2026 regarding Wheelwright Park.
Second.
All is in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none. Okay, great. And the way we'll operate this is I'm going to go to Michelle. She'll bring us up to date on Wheelwright Park as we're going to move on to our select board's opinion on Wheelwright Park cell tower discussion vote. So I'll start with Michelle, then we'll have the board be able to talk about their opinions, and then we'll open it up for the audience. So if anyone had any comments after the information we're able to provide as well, and of course on Zoom if anyone has it that. So they'll go Michelle to the full board and then to the audience. So Michelle, would you like to bring us up to date on the cell tower project?
Sure. So at the direction of the select board, I was asked to look at the alternate locations that were originally proposed during this process. One was a location outside of Baldwin Park area, which was in a residential neighborhood. And the second location, of course, was the RTF. The cell provider came out yesterday, and we walked the RTF site as well as Wheelwright Park. We identified what could be a possible location at the RTF. He is running studies with engineers. He's running a microwave study as well as radio frequency study to see if he can capture the line of sight that we need to have the public safety frequencies that we need in that part of town. We didn't want to ignore the town meeting vote, so therefore we're doing our due diligence. We are running a parallel path. Wheelwright has not been abandoned as a location. Well, we are doing due diligence on those other locations. And if in fact the engineer comes back with the RTF and it's a suitable site, then we can update everyone accordingly. But I just want to let you know that that's going to take a couple of weeks to get all of those details together. But we are looking at that and we're hoping to have additional information in the coming weeks.
Great, thanks, Michelle. And as far as the town council opinion, which we're going to be discussing among other things with Wheelwright Park, we'll have that posted as soon as we can on the website, and we'll probably post it on Cohasset 143 because we would like everyone out there, not only here tonight, but in the town, to be able to read that and get the actual law behind things and not just what is posted on the internet or otherwise. So regarding town council's opinion, and of course you don't have it yet, so it's a little bit hard to understand, but I will bring up a few things of it and of the Wheelwright Park discussion and history. And I would remind everybody that most of the board, because this had gone on for a long time, going back to even, was it 2018 to look for a cell phone site, maybe even before that, that most of the board wasn't even here at the time in 2022. In fact, I was in the audience at the time. But nevertheless, with the town council opinion, I would say there's some things that need to be highlighted and that I would highlight for you. And that is, the proponents of this, being the Open Space Committee and some of the other residents in town, met with town council on more than one occasion regarding regarding the motion, and after the petition was done in the article for town meeting on whether it was binding or non-binding. And it was expressed in town council an opinion that it was, that the current article, which was voted on this last time at town meeting, was non-binding. And I think that's important to know because there was nowhere in the presentation by the Open Space Committee or any of the other proponents of it telling the town meeting members that this was a non-binding resolution and that it did not authorize the select board to do much. And I think that's important because when you're at town meeting, a lot of people left there thinking that when they voted for it, that it was binding and therefore the cell tower issue was put to bed and it was over. And that is not the case. And the other thing in the town council opinion that and that also was brought up by the moderator too, because the proponents tried to change the motion. And the issue is that to try and make it binding or have the select board authorize a different path, it would not be congruent with the article and the petition that was done, the original petition. So because of that, they had to stick with the motion that they ended up doing at town meeting. The other thing there in the opinion that was done by town council that should be highlighted is town council explained very well of the difference between town meeting and the select board and the functions of the legislature versus the executive. And I think that's very important to note of how that works. And also in it, the proponents also look to even do their own legislation, even though, of course, the town had theirs. And I would just point to the fact that I don't know how or under what auspices citizens or another board would be able to bring legislation without the executive committee or the town manager and to bring it on their own. And so that was another issue. So as I said, it was not disclosed. And I think that because it wasn't disclosed that it was non-binding, I think caused, a lot of hysteria out there in the town. And also it wasn't straightforward. And I've been in 4 articles and against articles, whether I've been a citizen or on many boards. And in fact, when we had town hall in one of its iterations, there was an issue of what we should put in as far as the costs of it, whether we should back out some costs, make it more appetizing. And I said, no, you need to put in all the costs so that the people know exactly what they're voting for. And if it gets voted down, it gets voted down. If it gets voted yes, it gets voted yes. But the town meeting needs to know specifically what an article needs to do. Going onward, as I said, they inquired about legislation. Now also town council talked about the breach of contract, which is an issue, and she goes into detail on that. And the thing to know is that when you have a lease, is that the rights are vested in that party. So it's not just something that you can, pull the rug out from under. And that town meeting cannot, by vote, cannot eliminate those vested rights in a lease. Which is important to note. Also is that, in their opinion, also going over the damages, that not only could you have, if the town wanted to breach the agreement, or even intended to do that, number one, the party could vote for specific performance, meaning they could go to a court seeking declaratory judgment and force the town to carry out the contract. They could also sue the town for damages, which they explain what those are. And also under 93A, if the town was found guilty on that part, that the damages could be tripled plus attorney's fees. And that's brought up at the end. So that kind of settles the opinion on that front. The other thing I would say is that regarding what has gone on lately is, and I'm pulling up my phone because I had to take pictures of it, there was postings on Facebook by the Open Space Committee, and it read, it was, in fact, I believe it was yesterday, and it says, "Good morning. Can you please share with the community, the select board is hoping Cohasset citizens forgot the May meeting where Wheelwright Park cell tower project was voted down." And it goes on to say, "Come to East, tell your opinion at the 7 p.m. And I think it's really out of bounds for a board to attack another board like that. And specifically in our case, we were waiting for town council opinion. After the town meeting was over, we asked town council for their opinion regarding this so we could see what the next steps could be for the town in trying to do what is the best thing for the town. And last week, we had it on the agenda to not only go into executive session, but come out. And of course, Zoom went down, so some of you might have missed it, but it was only a couple minutes where we carried over the discussion to this week. So we had put it on the agenda last week. We had it on the agenda as of Friday for tonight, for which you were all here. And we were charged by the Open Space Committee that we were hoping the town somehow forgot about it when we had put it on the agenda twice. And I think that, frankly, it's outrageous. It's unconscionable, and it's unbecoming of another board to attack another board like that. If you have a difference in policy, you're certainly welcome to it. Boards differ on policy. Boards also differ on legality sometimes and have to get town council opinion. But I would never try and say what is in the mind of another board or what they're doing. I would try and comment on the policy as much as possible. And that when people spread these kind of falsehoods and they get picked up by the internet, of which there's plenty of other falsehoods to attach to it, it gives the town the wrong impression. And it does so willfully and intentionally. And that shouldn't happen from any citizen, let alone any board, because if you're on a board, you're held to a higher standard than the people out there in the internet world. I wish the people in the internet world were held to a higher standard, but that's not the case. And then briefly on the other ends of it, I would say I'm not going to really talk about the deed restriction because town council is going to look at that and will hopefully get an opinion on that. I would say that when you do have deed restrictions or conveyances for anybody, that they're certainly not absolute. And I would remind people that the building that you're in today, the money for this building was meaning that Wilcott Commons, which is now the senior center, was originally given, and it was given only for the purposes of a Protestant old age home. So if we were to keep with the intention of that, any of you who are Catholic, Jewish, Muslim, or any other faith, or even atheist, you would have to leave the room because that was not the intention of the grantor at the time. So that had to be changed by the Attorney General because it obviously violated public policy. The money was then carried over. And then, of course, we have the Wilcott Commons, which was built for you that you're now sitting in today. So most certainly, it is not absolute. And I would note that also in other parts of the state, whether it's state land or otherwise, there are cell towers in there, but we don't need to get into that. Small cell versus cell tower. I'll let Michelle maybe just opine on that, just a little bit of the difference in that without getting into all the technical machinations of it briefly. If you could just talk about that.
So the questions have come about from several residents. Why don't we move to small cell? I did ask the vendor that exact question. Their response was, it's cost. To cover the same area, each carrier needs 20 nodes, so 60 overall. And the cost for each carrier is about $2.5 million. So it's cost prohibitive for them to invest in Cohasset with those small cell towers.
Beyond that, the town, I believe, does not own the telephone poles in town, unlike Hull or some other towns. The other thing with small cell that I'd say is that it is exactly what it says it is. It's small cell. It bounces from, pole to pole. After such a distance, it's measured in feet. When you have cell towers, they measure it in miles because the higher it is, the longer they can shoot out the signal. And that the primary function of this is for public safety. The fact that we're able to get carriers on it is a bonus. The fact that we're able to get paid for it is a bonus for the town. But the primary issuance of it is for public safety for the police and fire because we do not have coverage in areas of town. And I know I've heard from some people who say that if they don't have cell coverage or if they don't have coverage, they simply don't care. But I would bid to them that you will care if you have an emergency. If your loved one has a stroke or a heart attack, or if your kid gets hurt or breaks their leg and you need to call 911 and you don't have the cell phone coverage, you will care. And for all of us here or those out in Zoom world or who listen to this afterwards, if you ask any EMT or firefighter, they will all tell you is we're all on life's roulette wheel. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It might be because of age, it might be because of frailty or whatever illnesses we have, or it could be an accident, but it is a matter of time before you are going to need 911. I assure you, every one of us in our life will need it. And it might, hopefully it's many years off and it's not tomorrow, but that's an issue. And that's the primary function of looking at the cell tower. And then again, it's about public safety. And then finally, the select board, the compass that we go by, and while we have differing opinions maybe on it, is what to do, what's best for the town of Cohasset. And that's the compass that we go by. And so the the potential RTF site, as we stand today, it's certainly promising. And I would use the words as of today, I'm cautiously optimistic with it. But there's still a lot of work that has to be done because they have to make sure that the sight lines can go from one to the next. And it will be taller than what would be in Wheelwright Park. But if it can be done, then certainly we would be looking at that. And that could certainly be an option. So with that being said, I would open up to the rest of the board and then we can get to the audience if you have any other questions or comments as well. So who would like to go first?
Well,
You want to turn that on first?
As the only member of the board at the time. Tonight, for weeks in a Facebook, whoever's posting that. The guy has an hands, but sand, hoping that. Like. Maybe it was pretty involved. But as one of the only last members of the select were newly elected in those 22 votes. That I really accused for the question that we're going against the will of people who voted unanimously at time. They voted on something that. Well, since I've been operating, we've had a number of forums, meetings, there's been a mailing sent out to every resident, if I'm not mistaken, that hit every home. Those that live in Cohasset. So under my operation at different times, we were operating on the 235 people at town meeting in 22 who unanimously voted to see the cell tower in the interest of safety. My thoughts were this. I could care less if we had 20 towers up. It would save one life. That's the way I felt about it. Not aesthetics, not looks, not parks, but a life. And I hope it's no one in this room, anyone in my family or this table, or in around. But that's my feeling on the cell towers, where it goes. But I want to make it clear, 22 on, we were operating on the vote that was taken at town meeting, that was unanimous in approval. Then what I find disingenuous is coming out at the 11th hour, the petitions, changing the goalposts, and pushing them back instead of working collaboratively with the select board or any other committees, coming to meetings, showing up for forums, discussing it prior to the attacks that were thrown at this board on Facebook and in public, and coming to meetings like we are not working for the will of the people. No one at this table be here if we didn't feel that our views were aligned with your views and bringing the best to Cohasset that we possibly can. Agree, we may disagree, thanks. But no one is sitting at this table to take that kind of vitriol, to put up on Facebook, again, by a fellow committee. So I just want to say that I'm pretty disgusted by it. Instead of working collaboratively, that stones thrown for a long reason. By a fellow committee that we could work together with. And what I've seen out of open space in the last couple of years, I'm just kind of curious. I've seen a bottle floating in the ocean, a picture of a bottle floating in the ocean, a water bottle. So I've seen a water bottle ban, and now this. That's what I've really seen out of open space. And forgive me if I'm missing something. But I haven't seen a lot of open space at any of the meetings coming up to see us. So I would leave it at that. We do want to work for the town. But with every board and committee, we want to work collaboratively. And I find it unjust to be attacked for something that we didn't do when we were operating, as we saw, in the best interest of Cohasset, going by the votes, and the vote that was taken in 22.
Ellen, do you?
Sure.
This is on.
Yeah. Okay. So I concur with my colleagues that all we want to do is what's best for the town, and that the primary driver in a cell tower, cell phone coverage is for public safety. And all you have to hear is a story of there was some distress, I think it was on Rocky Beach, and the person involved couldn't get a 911 signal, so went out on the rocks a little bit and finally got through on 911, and they went through. they got the Winthrop PD department because it was a direct line across Massachusetts Bay. And to Mr. Farag's earlier point, you know, it just takes one. So however we come out on this, as long as it's good for Cohasset and good for public safety, that's where I want to be. But I do want, as Mr. Grady said, an acknowledgement that the 235 voters in December of 2022 are just as valuable as the 190 voters in the spring of 2026, I'm sorry. And I went through all of the open space and recreation minute meetings, and I'll have pages of it, and I won't bore everybody with it. But throughout all of it, and up to and including our joint meeting on March the 10th of this year, it was about, well, what can we get? The Esposito property, the land isn't good. We talked about, well, maybe there's different property. Maybe there's more. Maybe it's not a one-for-one swap. Can we get some of the revenue? Can we get signage? It was all about what a quid pro quo, what can we get? And then late in the game is when the issue of Wheelwright Park and the deed restriction came up. So it kind of caught us by surprise because March 10th was the first time we've ever met, you know, board to board. I went to one of your meetings unsolicited on February of 2025, and we talked about it, and you had some follow-up questions, and I got the answers back to Mr. Norman, who was co-chair at the time, and then not another comment or question since then. So it didn't feel collaborative. It didn't feel like a lot of the true concerns, which I think the true concern is finally out, and I'm glad that it is, that it's about the deed restriction of Wheelwright Park and what Wheelwright Park, when it was deeded to the town, really means. And it's not about additional open space, and it's not about a better sign on Forest Ave, and it's not about, you know, the construction over the culvert. It's really about the will and the deed. And I think had that been brought up prior to March of this year, because as it's been said, this has been going on since December 12th, 2022 at special town meeting. We wouldn't be in this place. I don't think we would be in this place. And I believe the Open Space and Recreation Committee Board was first apprised of this in December of 2024, 2 full years after the special town meeting vote when the conservation is it Charlotte? She the conservation agent brought it to your attention, and that began the dialogue. And so I would just encourage Open Space or any other board that has any issue with anything we're doing to come and talk to us, set up a joint meeting, because it doesn't need to get to this point. And it's gotten to this point because we haven't worked together on this, and we haven't been told. And I will say, and forgive me, I don't know if it was Mr. Farag or Mr. Grady said it, when you're appointed or elected to a board, you kind of have to hold yourself to a higher standard to know what's going on in town. And it was surprising that there was an expectation that all of the information would get fed when in fact we had a project page on the cell phone tower, and all of the documentation has been posted there as it has come up, right? It's been live for quite some time.
That's the main motion.
Yeah. So there's information to be had. So I don't want to opine any longer, but I am disappointed. I hope we can move past this. I hope that we can do what's best for the town. I'm confident we can do what's best for the town and move forward and understand how much better collaboration is than being adversarial.
Great. Greg, I'll go to you and then as well. Yeah.
Sure. Just briefly, I mean, first, I think thank you to everybody who reached out and came to talk about this issue. It's an important one for the town of Cohasset, and I appreciate the interest that folks have. You know, the descendant of the oldest family-owned farm in America that was recently put into a conservation trust in New Hampshire, Double Red Barn, because the economics of that farm no longer worked. So do know that I fully appreciate the situation the town finds itself at Wheelwright Park. And that being said, you know, my biggest issue with what's happened, you know, I was newly elected to the board. As I go through these issues, I just want to implore folks that if there's questions about what the select board is doing, you know, our email addresses are out there. Please reach out if you have questions or concerns. You know, I made it a staple of my campaign that we wanted to reach people where they are and communicate, and happy to do so. from I don't have a Facebook page, but from my reading of what's been going on, in general, to me, it boils down to a kind of some miscommunication about where the select board stands and what our actions have been post town meeting. So to clear it up, we have been moving along and trying to get our arms around town council's opinion, and then we wanted to relay them to the town once we, had our own understanding of town council's opinion. So, and going forward, if there are any issues or questions about what we're doing, please feel free, boards or individual citizens, happy to spend the time. We're 5 folks of Cohasset who are trying to, do good work for the town. So, I don't want to hide anything. I'm not here to pull a fast one on anybody. I'm happy to sit down and talk. Thanks.
Great. Will?
Excuse me, tough to follow all that, so I'll keep it brief. But the only thing I want to say is that I don't think that the best thing for Cohasset is destroying the only deep forest habitat in the town. And I hope we continue to work for a different location. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Before I go to the audience, I just want one last thing, and that was it was in town council's opinion, but the motion and article that was actually in 2022, and it's just to clear the air for new people who haven't heard. But it was very clear as to what it was, and I'll read it off just very briefly. It says, move that the town transfer the care, custody, and control of a portion of Wheelwright Park, which park is located on Forest Avenue, identified as assessor's parcel. I'll leave that stand. And it's described in the deed in Norfolk Registry of Deeds 1375-362, which a portion contains 2 acres more or less and is approximately shown on a plan at Wheelwright Park plan on file with the town clerk from the select board for the purposes to the select board for general municipal purposes and the purpose of leasing, and further to authorize the select board to enter in telecommunications leases from time to time on such terms and conditions for such duration, which may exceed 30 years, as the select board deems is the best interest of the town, and to grant access, utility, and other easements in said portion. And further, to authorize the select board to file a petition with the general court, meaning the legislature of Massachusetts, pursuant to Article 97 of the Massachusetts Constitution for a special act, authorizing and foregoing transfer of Article 97 of the Massachusetts Constitution, and to satisfy the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs no net loss policy to transfer the care, custody, and control of a parcel of land containing 2 acres more or less on Chief Justice Cushing Highway. This is the Esposito property, known as Assessor's Plot, described by a specific number, and described in the deed at Norfolk County Registry of Deeds from the Select Board for the general municipal purposes to the Select Board, acting as the Board of Park Commissioners for park purposes in perpetuity under the provisions of General Laws 45.3, subject to the provisions of 97. So this was mailed to every single household in Cohasset as a part of the warrant. So in 2022, if you lived here, this is what you got, and then in the mail, and then that's what the people voted for at that time. So I just say that only for the purposes of that if people say it wasn't clear, the Esposito property wasn't denoted, it was clear what was being done and that it would be in Wheelwright Park at the time. But with that being said, I'll open it up for any questions or comments. But I would say if you do have a comment or a question, if you could keep your question in the form of a question and no soliloquies, please, if you could keep your comments short to the matter if we need to comment on them to help further discussion. And just please give us your name and address when you come up. Yep, if you'd like to come up.
Barbara Wren, 44 Blackrock Road.
Thank you.
Are there any provisions in the lease where the town would be released, say if it doesn't pass conservation or planning?
Well, I don't think it addresses that specifically.
So there's no out for the town. There's nothing that says the town of Cohasset is released from this contract it has to pass conservation and planning. So what happens if it doesn't?
It goes to conservation and zoning at this point in time. So they have an application with conservation that they've been going through, and then zoning would be after that. And then we would have to see what would happen if it got denied. As an applicant, the town is the applicant. So the town could appeal it the town has appellate rights to do so if it so chooses.
You're saying the town can appeal if conservation decides that it's not feasible?
Absolutely, yeah. The town is an applicant, just like a homeowner or anyone else. So, but I'm not going to game theory out what could happen.
Do you know what process it is right now with conservation? Because there was a hearing on Thursday night, but it stopped.
Yeah, it
went
got
silent.
It got moved till, was it June? The end of June, I think it is 25th. Yeah.
Once again.
Yeah.
Other location further.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you. Yep. Go ahead. I think Jenny wanted to come. Yep. Yeah.
It's on, it's on. The red light is on.
Just name and address. Yeah. So,
Ginny Leclerc, 82 Pond Street. I am the chair of the Open Space Committee. And what have we done, Mr. Grady? We have done a 10-year open space plan. We just completed that. That has gone to the state and is being reviewed. We turned that in on time with the consultants that the town has hired, Beals and Thomas. You sit here wagging your fingers at us, saying to us, scolding us, belittling us as a town board, and then you quote say, hold yourself to a higher standard. I am so irate right now because your account, your memory, and I know you weren't here, Mr. Watts, is very different from what actually happened. And the lack of transparency is continuing. And the smoke screens are continuing. And I'm angry also because you just said that the Open Space Committee posted something on Facebook that was saying things against the Board of Selectmen. That is not true. We do not control public comment, but what we posted was just this. The discussion on the proposed Wheelwright Park cell tower continues. The select board is considering moving ahead with the project voted down in May town meeting. Please air your opinion at Tuesday's select board meeting and arrive public comment section at 7 p.m. Arrive early to remind them of your vote. There are newer technologies and better qualified locations, specific areas not willed to the town for recreation only. We did not disparage the Board of Selectmen. And I would appreciate you not disparaging the Open Space Committee. If we are going to work together in the future, we cannot have one board wagging fingers at another board. It looks bad. Furthermore, we were told from the beginning, from Chris Sr., from yourself, Mrs. Maher, that this is a done deal. That's why we never looked into the deed restriction. It is not our responsibility of the Open Space Committee to be fact-checking what the Board of Selectmen did. We assumed that you did everything by up to board. We assumed that. So then we were asking, well, gosh, this is a done deal. Everyone's telling us this is a done deal. We're not fighting boards. We're passing plastic water bottle bylaws to prevent pollution. We're doing 10-year open space plans to protect the town. We are not trying to do anything more than what is in our charter, and that is to protect open space in the town. So when you say the 233 voters voted for the cell phone tower, as Marianne read earlier from one of the Open Space Committee members, those 233 voters were misled. That's why the citizens petition, when we did this, there was a pass 199 to 30. And regarding the binding resolution, when you said that we were wavering because we were trying to figure out if we could add in more things. Like, okay, will you replant trees if you put the cell phone tower in? And then eventually what we learned is that from the moderator, that's out in town council, that's outside of scope. We were too far out of scope. So then we went back to the original motion that we originally presented, which was our original intent from the beginning. Our only intent is please find another location for the cell phone tower. We will work with you in any way. Just do not put it in a public park. That is the whole thing. We can forget about all of this finger wagging and back and forth. But our clear intent is that a cell tower does not belong in a park. And I appreciate that you are looking into other locations. And I thank you for that. Our vote, we believe it was binding. And regardless if it's binding or not, I hope that if I ever sit in the position that you're in and I see a wave of citizens telling you, we do not want you to do this, either you will take it back to town meeting for another vote, or you'll find another location. So I thank you for considering another location and looking at that.
I do have a couple quick questions. How do you think that it's binding when town council told you it was not binding?
Town council never said if it was not binding. We voted, the Open Space Committee voted to have this be a binding resolution sent to town meeting.
Petition wasn't binding though.
We told them we wanted it. We voted for it to be a binding sensitive.
I won't get in the ticky tack because I think
Town committee, wasn't town council their advisor on the citizens petition?
Adam Norman, 88 Doan Street.
Mhm.
So as part of the process of the citizen petition, the petitioner meets with town council to go over the language of the petition before it goes to vote at town meeting.
Mhm.
Then you also go before the moderator. That's part of the process. We did that. When we met with town council told Carolyn that we wanted this to be binding. If it wasn't binding, what would be the point of even going forward with the petition? And if the select board disagrees with the outcome of the vote, you can simply say, oh, let's get an opinion from town council that says this is not binding. The people of the town believed it was binding. We voted almost unanimously, 199 to 30, overwhelmingly to vote down this cell tower. And you're not respecting the wishes of the folks in town.
I would say that you haven't had the opportunity to read town council's opinion, and so I'll give you the opportunity to read it and everyone else in the town. And
This is the town council that met with us to help draft
that is the same town council. Yeah.
Said it was going to be binding.
Yeah. I mean,
What do you think people voted on? What was the vote? What was the point of the vote?
it was a non-binding resolution for the most part. Yeah. But I would say that without getting into technical matters, the town is moving forward to try and look at a new site. And I think that's where we can find common ground. And so we'll keep exploring that common ground and hopefully bring it to a much better resolution for the town in doing so.
Hi, Mary Fibris, 200 North Main Street. I just want to publicly say thank you to the Open Spaces Committee because I wouldn't have known about this today if it weren't for them, because the way that things come to us, I got a lot of stuff. I got little kids. We get so many emails that if it's not written out in plain language, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to go through every last detail. And I think they've done really good work getting us all mobilized and connected. And I think they've been respectful. I would like to take offense at the word hysteria when it's something that's so important to so many people in town. It's really disparaging and unnecessary. And I appreciate that you're looking into another space, and I strongly encourage you to do so. And I want to also say, we're worried about breach of contract for the cell phone tower companies, but what's going to happen if we breach a will? Are we just going to open ourselves to another lawsuit there? Because if you live in a pretty litigious town, like, do we want that when we're like losing teachers because we don't have a couple $1 million for the school? Like, is that money we want to waste? So I strongly, strongly urge you to really dig in and see where else we can put this, because I think that we're moving ahead in a direction that's wrong and dangerous, and we can't take it back.
Great. Thank you for your comments. Yeah. Anyone else? Do we have anybody out in the Zoom world? Great. Oh, yes, Connie, come on up. Yeah.
Connie Afshar, 141 South Main Street. I'm just commenting just very briefly that we have been in contact with Michelle, with Chris Senior, and generally quite a bit. And there was a lot of discussion about trying to find an alternative to Wheelwright Park. Prior to us being aware of the new technologies that are all around us now, the small cells, the pico cells, and we went to the visit by Wireless Edge. Several of us attended that. We know that Michelle arranged the balloon. So we have been engaged. And even though we were told by Chris Senior and others that it was a done deal, but we were saying, wait a minute, it can't be a done deal. And particularly as this alternative energy, the alternative solutions became more and more obvious and surrounding us, even just experiencing ourselves now at that junction, Forest Ave, Jerusalem Road, Atlantic Ave there, it's amazingly better from that what's already was recently put there. So I'm just, we've been trying, and and we want to work with you. We want to work with the town. Of course we do. And we feel very strongly there is a great solutions out there. And the feedback that we've gotten financially is different from what Michelle quoted, but I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that the pico cells that have to be, a couple of football fields apart from one another that can be put, even if you don't put them on Jerusalem Road, you can put them on Linden Road, you can put them on Haystack, you can tuck them all around there. And it's going to give great service. And our research found that it was much less expensive than going with the pole, and yet alone violating the open space. So just know that, we all want to work together. We want the best. We think there is great solution out there, and we would just all like to work towards that end.
Great. Thanks, Connie.
Thank you.
Does any other comments? Because I have a motion to make. Any other comments out there? No? Okay. Now that we're closing, so any other comments by the board? Okay. Well, I have a motion I'd like to present to the board. Subject to and without waiving or breaching any current contracts or contractual rights, the Cohasset Select Board hereby directs the town manager to study, examine, and or investigate any alternative public safety cell tower locations on land owned by the town of Cohasset in order to facilitate correcting the lack of coverage in the area of town previously identified from the town's prior RFP on the matter. Is there a second? Second. All is in favor? Aye. All is opposed? None. Motion carries 5-0. So we will be looking at the other options in town as well and move forward from there. So I think that wraps up this particular one. We do have some more things on the agenda, but I thank you all for coming here tonight. And I hope you, and before you all leave and make a rustling, I hope you all still stay involved. And please, if you do have any questions, to email or call us at the select board as well. Please just don't write on Facebook for answers. Just come to us directly and we'll be happy to respond. Yeah.
To email you because I thought it was like violating an open meeting.
Absolutely not. No, you can email anytime. Yeah. Yeah. Or as a group. Yeah.
We can't answer you all back.
Yeah, we can't answer you all back at once. Yeah.
Right.
We have some rules. You don't.
Yeah. Yeah. We have rules. You don't. Thank you so much. And we're going to move on to the next piece of the agenda.
Sorry to leave you.
No, please do.
Not that we don't care.
Next on the agenda is a town hall renovation update for discussion and vote. I think we have Mark Cameron coming up, and just if you just want to wait a minute, we'll let the people carry on.
Hey,
I see your face and I want to run too.
haven't we had enough tonight? Haven't we had enough tonight?
I'm trying to have an uplifting moment here, all right? Son, okay.
Let's give it a minute. Yeah. Okay, you can carry on. Just name and address, and then we'll go on from there. Yeah.
Mark Cameron, 18 Virginia Lane, member of the Town Hall Working Group. So we came in about a month ago, gave an update where we were at in the design process. waiting on some numbers coming back. So in your packets, you should have the updated numbers. We are wrapping up or have wrapped up the schematic design phase of the interior portion. We have received bids for the window, and we have awarded a successful bidder for the window replacement portion of the renovation. So that is underway. The windows should be complete over the summer and fall months. So that work to get the envelope secured before winter is actively going on. So the next stage of the process is moving into the design development phase, where we will continue to fine tune the layout, the programmatic layout, and then advance to construction documents after that. So where we're at right now in that pricing wise is we have had a schematic design estimate done by a professional estimating firm out of Hingham, PM&C. They do a lot of work in the area. So they're very familiar with our market conditions here. And basically we showed you both the budget from about a year ago from last March and where that's truing up in comparison to current day. So in the end of it, with the work that's been done to date, with the potential grant money that's out there, we're trending about $223,000 over where we previously put the budget together about a year. And potential items that, would not be ideal. A lot of the project would be a chairlift that's on the second floor that gets you from the higher elevation of the historic second floor down to that intermediate level that's out front, that serves that conference room, overlooks the common, and then the generator. The generator is an essential part to the future building. It's currently the building doesn't have a generator, but with the fact that this building is part of the HVAC upgrades, the building will be electrified. So it will be electric heat. So we all know that we tend to lose electricity here in town. So it would be prudent to have a generator. If we had to mobilize a portable generator, it's possible, but it takes away from facilities and other operations during emergency situations that the town is trying to tend to. So we're really looking for acknowledgement of where we are, support as we go forward. Again, this, we've adjusted the contingency levels. We've looked at the temporary move and the conditions there, pulled that back a little bit to where we think is a little bit more reasonable. So we just wanted to present the update of where we're at, as we continue into that design development phase. At the completion of that design development phase, we will do another cost estimate with that cost estimator to get a updated, true representation of where we are there.
Great. Questions from the board?
So Mark, in the previous iteration town hall, just for educating the town, what was the price?
Well, I think back in 2012, 2013, it was 12 million, and then it went up to 23, 25 million in 2023.
Around 26 million. And what are we at now?
And then we went through 1+N, and now we're here. And so, yes, this is about as economical here as we can get. And this is as we call it, a fluff and buff.
I mean, I'm biased because I'm part of the committee, on full disclosure. And thank you, Mark, for all the dedication you put into this. I mean it. We said we we're going to try to get the town hall. More importantly, we need a building that our town hall staff can work in, that's safe, it's comfortable, that hopefully we can provide for the future, a building that's going to last, plain and simple. So again, just follow up. We got, what was it, Michelle, 5.5? All right. And how much are we over to get the building to where it ought to be?
223,000 right now.
All right. So if we had that 223,371, that's going to bounce us right to where we want to be. Does that include the generator?
Includes the generator.
So could we potentially use that? Even the auditorium as a potential warming center if we had to, if we lost them?
You would be able to. It would be,
That's again, that's all I need to know on that. So we could use it as a warming center. We would have a building that would be ADA compliant. That would be, will you put the picture back up again? All right, so just explain here. Again, I know, but I think some folks may like to know. Let's talk about the porch for a minute. The uses, ADA compliance, accessibility, the windows matching, and what we plan on doing by expanding the offices.
so the framework of the building is generally the same. The corner closest to you in the picture, directionally challenged right now into which direction that is, but that corner that is right now, there's an existing, it's an inset to the footprint of the building. So the idea would be to square that up. It creates a little bit more usable square footage on the first floor, which becomes very valuable as we set up the offices and work to fit everybody programmatically inside, and getting the folks that are currently up at 135 King Street back in this building and getting everybody under town hall, one roof. So that's the only change to the footprint of the building. The porch here on the front addresses the ADA components, and it allows for one point of entry between the auditorium and the first floor of the building.
Besides my rocking chair down the road, if I'm lucky enough to live that long.
But generally speaking, I mean, the stairs are all in the same spot. The bathrooms are in the same spot. In the annex, we are proposing to move them in the historic side because they're up against exterior walls and windows, and actually the floors of those bathrooms land in the middle of windows. So it's just the nature of how it was cobbled together over the years. The auditorium used to be actually upstairs, and then it was flipped downstairs. So we're just trying to undo a little bit of that wonkiness up there.
Rich, do we have the second floor? So if we're looking at it right now, we're looking at where the town manager's office currently stands and where all the admin spaces, right, Mark?
Correct. And some minor wall modifications up there puts that town manager, that what's currently the town manager suite back in play for select board meetings. And then that would reduce the burden here on Wilcott Commons and the programming here in this room too, as we set up for these meetings. So that was the idea there. The select board, the town manager's office would be on the historic side.
And now we're on the historic side, so.
And all the partitions there are the same. There is actually nothing moving on the historic side with the exception of the bathrooms down towards the bottom. There's the old projector room that was there for, and so we're just getting the bathrooms off of the exterior wall and putting them inbound where they belong.
And I would encourage anybody who hasn't seen it to go over there because our town facilities department has been slowly but restoring the offices in the historic portion on their own. When they have some time to get in there, it's quite a sight. Restored the floors. You can see some things behind the walls. Pretty neat. So.
Yeah, so far they've been doing some demolition, asbestos abatement, electrical. They've been supporting the fire sprinkler installation, fire alarm on the historic side, and the radon installation. So there's been some things going on there as well, just to keep progress going.
And to date, just for public knowledge, how far along are we? I know, but.
Not very far. I mean, we're
the equipment.
The windows, the windows is the big step here. This is the big step so far. So that was this past week's achievement here was getting that under contract.
Fire. Suppress the
oh yeah, well, this fire suppression and the alarm, yeah. So that was
the alarm. So at least the building you can go into it.
Other questions from the board? Go ahead.
I do.
Ellen,
I don't know anything about this, but the generator, is that something, you know, when someone says generator, I think of something you plug into the house, right? We're talking about something much more sophisticated for a municipal building, and it will service both sides, correct?
correct.
So part of the funding has come from CPC for the historic side. special at town meeting in May, there was very little that had been requested. And I'm wondering if that this might be a good ask at special town meeting. I don't know if that's too late or not too late, but
It's not too late because, you know, if the plan continues on here and we continue down the track, construction wouldn't start until early December, aside from the window work. So just getting through the design development phase and then the construction document phase, bidding, procurement, contracting, we're looking at December, January for mobilization. You know, the holidays don't help mobilizing people there, but that's kind of the time frame we'd be looking.
so I'm just making a footnote that we should talk to CPC because it's going to service both sides. And if we use it, you know, for other purposes.
Years ago, they had a larger appetite for contributing
Yeah.
to this project.
Yeah.
More recently, they were contributing less.
Mhm.
I can't speak for them, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Lucinda has less projects on the fire right now, so it might be a nice time to ask. Do we want to go with it?
Greg, you got any questions, or Will?
Just two quick ones.
Sure.
The budget that you have here, it includes flattening out the front of the building, is that right? That's,
Yes, that inset, it includes that.
and well, kind of what Ellen was saying is how do we fill the gap on this? So CPC or any other ideas, I guess. It's not really a question, but yeah, I think it's worthwhile to get the generator there, especially if it's running over.
You know, again, these are the numbers that we're presenting here with the knowledge that we have in front of us, right? So we have floor plans. Those are what we have right now. We don't have detailed construction drawings that can be bid. So you know, we continue to update and check in on that. But the point here is that we are seeing an aggressive marketplace right now. So with some of the other projects that are surrounding towns and municipalities, we're hearing favorable things on how bids are coming back. So this all could be a moot point 6 months from now. But you know, that's sort of an optimistic view of it. But we wanted to share where we are at. Let folks know that this is how the project is moving along. This is the time frame of it. And best we can do is report back in on the next step.
Okay, I would get a couple things. I would say that definitely we want to try and stick to the budget, but I would say that obviously the longer time goes on, it gets harder to do that with the cost of things. But if our history has shown us anything on any project, is that you don't have much until you actually have a bid in hand, which is the actual of what someone is going to pay to actually do it. So estimates are good. You know, tight ones are even better, but at the end of the day, it's going to be when it gets bid out, what is that number going to be? And then from that, we do have contingencies built into this budget, which are, of course, you know, starting to move down as it goes through the project. But I would just say when it does get bid out, that you want to leave some flexibility in it to back out any costs. You know, and so sometimes when they bid it out, you know, there's alternatives or things like that, and just put that in there so that we can make sure it's in the budget. If there is money from other avenues to enhance anything, that's always good. But it's been a long time coming, a good project. I know the people in town supported this and gave the money for it. But I just think to just give the town maximum flexibility in the bidding.
The chairlift and the generator are being set up in the documents as deduct alternates.
Yeah.
So, and the reason those were picked was because they would be easily changed later. They could easily be added on later through future requests.
Yeah.
You kind of need that fire alarm panel. You need that air handling unit. So, we need to get those systems in place, and we're just trying to find a spot where we could draw a line in the sand and not complicate things.
Yep. Great. Any other questions or comments from the board before we move on? We had our for discussion vote. What would the vote be? What was the vote you were looking for? Just to carry on?
To carry, I guess.
Vote to proceed.
Yeah.
So I would make that motion.
Okay. You make a motion?
Second that.
Seconded by Craig. All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for all your work on this. I know for many, many years.
Thank
We're
you.
not getting any younger on this one. Okay, next is license permits and events. We've got the Cohasset Maritime Institute Minus Light Roundabout Race for September the 12th, 2026 at 10 a.m. through 3 p.m. Event permit, entertainment permit, and parking passes. Do you want to come and speak on that? Yes. Please, and just name and address, please.
Like, I'm Laura Kennedy. I'm the administrator for Cohasset Maritime Institute. This is my 8th summer doing this, and I'm very excited.
Thank you.
Yes, it is an event that we held annually. We took a break for a little bit, and then last year we brought it back, and it was a huge success. So we're excited to bring it back again this year. I don't know if I know some newer members, if you're familiar with Cohasset Maritime Institute, we are the rowing club over at the harbor, and we're looking to run the event again, this same as we did basically last year. It was a success. So we're hoping to run it again successfully.
Sounds great. Questions from the board on this?
Please.
Michelle, did you pipe in? We need what, just an event permit and an entertainment permit?
Yes.
Both of them? Well, it sounds like a great event to come back. I must say I could row out there, but I don't know if I could be able to row back. So it might not be.
Luckily, we have chase boats.
You've got chase boats. Excellent. And about how many people do you expect to be a part of it?
It'll probably be participants are probably about 100, but of course, that's not 100 boats. These are, maybe less boats, like 25, I think is what we did last year for boats. It's about 100 participants. We did have spectators last year, which was great, 50. And then we have our volunteers of about 30 people. Always welcome to more of them.
Great, thank you. Did we have any comments from police regarding it?
No, we've gotten all of them from our side.
Great. I guess we'll take a motion to entertain for an event permit and then an entertainment permit.
So moved.
Well, let's do event permit first. We'll make a motion for an event permit for the Cohasset Maritime Institute Minus Light Roundabout Race on September 12th, 2026, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
So moved. Yeah.
Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second by Greg. All's in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. All is opposed, none. And I'll make a motion that we issue an entertainment permit for Cohasset Maritime Institute Minus Light Roundabout Race, September the 12th, 2026, 10 a.m. through 3 p.m.
Seconded.
Say so moved.
Oh, moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Seconded by Will. All's in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All is opposed, none. Thank you so much.
One thing I just,
Oh, sure.
as you're talking, we did have a foul weather rain date for the next day. So that's something we can include in this in case that does happen, though we are asking Mother Nature to make the day perfect.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, I can.
Is it in the application?
Yes,
So the rain date's in the application and we just approve the application. So we're fine.
Yeah, we should be fine.
That's a good question. We may not have. I don't think there was. Nope, set up, move up. No, there is not. Is that something I add again or?
Just amend the application with a rain date?
Yeah.
So amend, but do we have to revote it? That's
Yeah, we're going to revote. I'll just make a vote for an amendment for the event and then a vote to amend the entertainment. I vote to amend the event permit for Cohasset Maritime Institute Minus Light Roundabout Race to include the rain date of the following day, same time.
So moved.
So second.
Second.
All's in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. All's opposed, none. And I vote to amend the Cohasset Maritime Institute Minus Light Roundabout Race to include the rain date of the following day after 9/12, meaning 9/13/2026, same time.
So moved.
Second.
And second by Will. All's in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All is opposed, none. Great, thank you.
Thank you. You're all invited.
Thanks.
Please do come if you can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
And the next is the Cape Cod Bay Challenge for August the 15th. Is there anybody here to speak on this, or is this just being moved along? Nobody on Zoom for this one?
No one has made themselves.
Okay. This is just for an event permit. So it's the Cape Cod Bay Challenge as you saw in the packet, August the 15th from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. for an event permit and parking passes. I make a motion that we approve such.
So moved.
So moved by Will. Any second? Seconded by Greg. All's in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All's opposed, none. That was 4. Next is known as ice cream renewal of a transient vendor license. Was there anything on this, Michelle? Go ahead.
I'd just like to speak to the transient vendor licenses. With the nesting of the plovers in a new location at Sandy Beach, there is some concern about the transient vendors coming through the parking lot due to the location of the new nesting area and the children running to these transient vendors. Sandy Beach asked if the select board would consider suspending transient vendors at the Sandy Beach parking lot for this year and reevaluating it next year based on the nesting pattern of the piping plovers.
You say, stopping, not allowing.
Not allowing them this year. There's 3 vendors, I believe, 3 transient vendors. They come through the parking lot. They asked if they could be suspended for this year and reevaluated again next year.
We already approved one, didn't we?
Okay. If that's the worry, isn't there marked areas for people to go to get
roped off currently?
It's roped off currently, and the nesting areas are roped off.
Where are the new nesting areas? Because there was no roping on Sunday. But typically, it's been down at the north end.
So now it's down by where the recreation volleyball used to take place.
Okay.
It's down that end, so closer to the bathhouse.
Okay.
And I think that's more of the concern is now where the new nesting area is, because now you have to block off both.
But the vendors generally go halfway down, don't they?
Well, they have to do the whole loop.
Yeah.
So they typically go and stop halfway and ring the bell and the kids go running and then they go down the other half. And then they have to loop around to exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, fairly.
Yeah.
My kids like it. I'd be happy to work with them to make sure that whatever we do continues to keep the kids away from it. I think it'd be a shame to lose, both for the vendors and for the folks that enjoy the beach, to lose access to that. But I am sensitive to disturbing the plovers. So I think we should commit to engaging with the Sandy Beach Association to make sure that we can mitigate that to the best we can.
What do they have at the snack shop there? What's the vendors have at the snack?
I think novelties similar to what's probably offered in some of the transient vendors. Obviously, I don't know that they scoop ice cream.
Since they don't.
No,
I
they
think
don't.
Nona's would be
It's more lobster rolls and sandwiches and a couple of little like knickknacks at the snack shack.
just like those novelty ice creams.
Yes, different offerings than what McNona's would.
They think if in here than so much.
Yeah, I think happy to have the conversation. It's from my perspective, anyway. It's not speaking for the board.
Any other comments on this? At the risk of talking about piping plovers, which I see in my other life, I think they can work around getting the kids to not run over the piping plovers to get to the parking lot to get an ice cream. And in other places and other beaches where they have it, where they come every year, sometimes they can nest in the parking lot and they'll just, they'll put an area to block off, and that's if you have cracks in the pavement, because they'll nest wherever the hell the sand is. So I think it could be worked out that you can have the transient vendor licenses like we've always had them, and they just need to work with it without having people trample over it. And usually the piping plover areas are marked off, and so you can't get to them, and people generally don't run through them. So I see to the tempest in a teapot, but
I mean, they're all different. I don't go to this. I don't go to Sandy Beach. Well, this is the winter time. But they all different. The three vendors.
Yeah.
And you're asking.
All different.
They're asking us to work with them, right? Big.
Raise the topic.
I would ask.
Yeah, their request was for us to not issue the license.
Yeah.
for a year. Right. Yeah.
Thing is, if we suspend it, I don't know if we'll ever get it back.
They can certainly, so it's just suspending for Sandy Beach. They can certainly still go to the farm.
They can go to Barnes and yeah, they're still going to be licensed in town for other locations. They're just, the request is just not Sandy Beach.
Mm.
Well, we have to authorize, well, we have to make a decision if we're going to issue the licenses. That's our decision.
Do we have to make it tonight or could they come up in front of us?
I think the license is separate from the location.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying the Sandy Beach Association. They,
They can certainly come before.
That might-
I just wanted to make you aware of their concern.
So the license that we already approved in a previous meeting, was that already, was the locations already approved that vendor could go to Sandy Beach, or is that?
I think
Still pending.
once you issue the transient license, they have, they can go to any location that's permitted in town, which would be the ball fields, the beach.
Yeah.
So to some degree, the cat is already out of the bag.
They can go anywhere. Yeah.
Right. So we, to me, it'd be a little unfair from vendor to vendor standpoint to say
Yeah.
one can come and one can't. So again, I kind of understand where Sandy Beach is coming from. Happy to address any issues they may have. But for me, the ship is somewhat sailed with the approval of a prior license. And we didn't know this issue.
I think they just need to work with them because the town owns a town parking lot. They own the beach. So.
Shouldn't we condition this on, you can do it at both ends and not in the middle where the plovers are, since it's our parking lot? Sandy Beach can't make them go anywhere in our parking lot.
what if we hear, I'm just gonna ask this like the last time, what if we hear from that?
Yeah.
If we, this had been interesting a month ago,
Yesterday and made this request. Talking about the license, I figured it was.
Right, but I think my suggestion is they come in front of us.
Sure. You want to just hold this one until we have them come in front? Okay.
But to Greg's
Yeah, I think
point though, we've already issued one of the three without condition. And now we're holding off issuing, these aren't permits just to go to Sandy Beach. These are seasonal permits to locations around town. And I think it would be unfair not to discuss these permits and take a vote on them. And then offline, as Greg has offered, talk to Sandy Beach, talk to the vendors and say, maybe your first stop is between the two lifeguards stairs. Like come up with a workable resolution.
Yeah.
But I think to deny these licenses, which are renewals that have been longstanding in town, it is not fair.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I don't think that was the intent. Their request was simply because of the plovers to stay out of the parking lot. But if you're willing to work with them, it has nothing to do with permitting them for the other locations in town.
Excellent.
I would just have Greg deal with them.
Sure. So I would move to.
Yeah.
On license.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the known as ice cream renewal of transient vendor license.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, say by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? And one abstention. Paul, great abstention. Thank you. The next one is Safe Harbor OD Awareness Vigil, August 31st, 2026, 6:30 to 7:30. Event permit entertainment license. And they want to waive the permit and license fee. Do you have any information on this one? It's just an annual event. Yeah. Anybody have any questions on this particular one? Anybody in the audience know? Okay. I'll make a motion that we'll do it twice because one's an event, one's an entertainment. I'll make a motion that we issue an event permit for Safe Harbor OD Awareness Vigil, 8/31/2026 from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Second.
And waive the permit fee and license fee as well. So it's been seconded. All's in favor, say it by saying aye. Aye. All's opposed? None. And I make a motion to issue an entertainment license, and also waive the permit and licensing fee for Safe Harbor OD Awareness Vigil from 8/31/2026 from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m.
Second.
Seconded by Will. All's in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. All's opposed? None. Great. Okay, town manager contract and discuss and vote. Before we vote on it, so we did have it in executive session. Did you want to talk a little bit about it?
We're in agreement.
We are in agreement, yes. And I think for people just to know, once it's voted on and after it's executed, it will be posted, but not until it's executed by the parties. As a part of the town manager contract, as you remember, the town went through the process of choosing a town manager. We had the interviews. We had of course, the committee go through it, whittle down the candidates, and then we interviewed the top three. Michelle Leary, of course, our assistant town manager, was chosen. After that, we went into contract negotiations. As a part of those contract negotiations, just so everyone in the town knows, we had outside labor counsel, Clifford and Kenny out of Pembroke, who is our labor counsel. We dealt with them. They were able to obtain comparables for similar contracts around the area, so that we could measure the price and compensation in being able to negotiate. We also did some research on our own, and the two people who were chosen from the board to do that was myself and Vice Chair Ellen Marr. And she also did research regarding the comps as well. And after negotiations, we came to an agreement on the contract, which we discussed in executive session. And now we're here to vote on the contract to make it final. And again, the terms of it, once it's signed and executed by the parties, it will be posted for everybody to see. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to vote on the acceptance of the town manager contract.
I'll gladly make that motion.
Motion by Paul Grady, seconded by Greg Watts. Any other discussion? No. All's in favor, say by saying aye. Aye. All's opposed, none. Motion carries 5-0. And subject to signature, congratulations, Michelle, on being the official town manager for Cohasset. Thank you. And I'll let it be known that is the only applause that the board or the town manager has received tonight. So you're in good company. Next, we have boards and committees openings. And on this, I just wanted to note for everyone out there in the public, we do have a list of here it is right here, of boards and committees openings. And it's very important that if people could get in their applications to the town, they're on the town website. If you have any questions on that, please contact Town Hall. And remember, on your application, you can put in, multiple boards if a couple of them look like they're in your wheelhouse and you'd like to go on them. But I did want to just announce, and for those of you who are looking to be reappointed, please make sure to contact and put in your application as well, and contact the town to let us know that you want to reapply. But I just want to read off a few of them so that everyone knows what is out there. And we're going to be appointing these within the next few weeks or months, depending upon how we get through them. So you have to get these in as soon as possible. The Affordable Housing Steering Committee has one opening. The Affordable Housing Trust has 2 openings. The Board of Registrars has 1 opening. The Cohasset Common Historic District Commission has 2 openings. One has to be a realtor and the other one has to be a district resident alternative. And again, that's if you live around the Common. The Cohasset Cultural Council has 3 openings, 2 full members and a Conservation Commission representative. The Cohasset Harbor Committee has 3 openings, specific designation for Recreation Commission representative and 2 commercial fishermen. Cohasset Village District Study Committee has no openings. Cohasset Community Preservation has 3 openings, 2 of the applicants for citizens at large, or we need citizens at large. Conservation Commission, we have, I believe, 6 openings, and of course we have reapplications for that. Council on Elder Affairs Board, there's 4 openings with 4 applicants. Historical Commission, there's 3 openings. Cohasset Community Television Corporation, this one is important because you renegotiate or you negotiate the contract. The one for Verizon has been done, but this is the one for Comcast. And there's actually 7 openings on this committee. So it'd be very helpful if we could get some people on the Cohasset Community Television Corporation. And Fence viewers, we have 2 openings, MBTA Advisory Council, 1 opening, Metropolitan Area Council, 1 opening, Open Space and Recreation, we have 3 openings. The PEB Committee, 1 opening, Sidewalk Safety and Connectivity, there's 9 spots open, I believe, and South Shore Recycling Co-op, 1 opening, and Zone of Board of Appeals, we have 1. So again, there will be reapplications for these, but if you are looking to get on a board, please apply. And I know that everyone, when they apply, they always want to be on, advisory or capital budget or some of the, the other boards. But it's really good to get some experience on the other boards, even if they don't meet as often, to work your way up. I can say that myself, I started as an associate on the Conservation Commission, then became a full member, and then of course went on other committees after that. So it's great to get some training on these boards, and I know there's a lot of interest in town. So it'd be really helpful if we could do that, because we can't fit everyone on some of the other boards, and there's certainly a lot of openings here. So that's just an announcement. If you get those in within the week, because we're going to start appointing these as soon as possible, especially if we have reapplications and there's no other people going for it. The next point we have on the agenda is the Public Safety Facilities Committee Charge Amendment Discussion and Vote. And I believe, why don't we just open it up for discussion before we get in the vote? And this would be the charge for the public safety committees, and then we can get into the next one, which would be the applicants for the open member positions. So let's open up for discussion on that.
Do you want to
Yes.
have it presented?
Yeah. Do you have that charge? Yeah.
You go next slide. So one of the things that the Public Safety Facility Committee has to do, but the select board issue a statement just acknowledging the vote and the path forward. So put this together as from us, and that we still need a new public safety facility, so we need to find a way to get there.
Great. And where was the charge that you had? Is that on there too? The next one?
It's a lot of
There's a
slides.
couple slides. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go right through them. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
So the ballot outcome, the urgent need remains, path forward required. That's what I just said. Next. These are the major changes to the charge, which is an alternatives analysis between Elm Street and King Street. There's a couple other changes, 9 voting members, so adding 2, there were 8, and I came off of there, so there's 2 now. If we go to 9, keep all the ex officios, deliver an alternatives analysis that compares an addition at Elm Street to some version of King Street. And then targeting special town meeting for some sort of option for town meeting to move forward with one of those 2 options.
Great.
Next slide. So this is the meat of the goal, problem, mission. So how do we continue to ensure continued safe and modern public safety operations, given that Elm Street is insufficient and 135 King Street failed ballot? So that alternatives analysis is the mission to achieve that goal. Next slide. These are the 5 biggest problems with Elm Street. So that's what we would charge the committee with solving. Next slide. That's the board makeup. Talk about that. So next slide. This is another one we have. Oh no, this isn't. Talk about this. You can go to the next slide. These are potential changes at King Street that the committee can look at. So the police bays, the parking lot in the building, fire apparatus bay, EOC, and then general office space. Next slide. That's their next steps, so they know what to do for the next few months. Conceptual plans for both, logistics plans, including doing construction in an active facility and the costs related to doing that. And then a better explanation of the alternative sites around town. That's something that we all talked about. Next slide. That's that timeline. We would need some feedback if they could meet that, but seems doable. Next slide. So the one I didn't talk about is number 3 there, firm the funding source. So I think we had talked about potentially going back to capital budget for the Elm Street design money, or finding some other way to fund this alternatives analysis. That's it. I think there's nothing else, right? Yeah.
And comments from the board before we.
Sure. Thank you, Will. This was, very, very thorough. You're a terrific writer. And I appreciate this. I think, for me, I'm vacillating between providing too much specific direction to the facilities committee, and not enough. And I think that when you get specific 4,000 to 5,000 square feet addition, as a facilities committee, is that going to handcuff them and say, well, our charge says 4,000 to 5,000 square feet. We have the 5 priorities. I didn't see an evidence room. I didn't see an interview room. I didn't see some of the other critical things. And I would prefer for the public safety officials to come back and rank what's critical to be covered, whether it's in a rehab of 4462 Elm or 135 King, as opposed to us. Because they might say, you know what, evidence is really much more important than an interview room, and we'll make do. I'm not equipped to make that decision. This is not it's not my profession. And so I would say, oops, sorry, I just lost it. I'm clicking the wrong arrow, the down arrow instead of the side arrow. It's all very confusing. So I would say if we could modify some of those very specifics and really just find a better balance between a focused charge and an updated charge to what they're doing, and let them come back with what the solutions are and the priorities. I would be comfortable with that. And I can mark it up and send it to you, and we can revisit this. I didn't anticipate we would, actually have a charge, because we're seeing it for the first time all together, right? And we'll have to discuss it. But those are my takeaways.
Paul, did you have anything on this?
Put some hard work into that. Good writer. I would keep it simple. Go back to the original charge, casting with looking at the alternatives for 44 and 62, like we discussed. Reminded about it. I think they know enough, and it's in the charges, to try to evaluate both sites. It's been made abundantly clear. I mean, I would essentially stick to the original charge and tack on the Elm Street project. And we let the town decide which one they think. But I wouldn't limit them into square footage. I would not limit them into which rooms that we've decided are best or not suitable. I'm not. That's why I would leave it kind of open-ended. Everyone, or the people on that committee are pretty intelligent, and for the most part, they worked on it for the last couple of years. I would just let them do the job instead of. I'm not accusing anyone of a hamstring. It's not a hamstring, but it's just a defined opinion as to what we think they need. I think they should have a say in that, since they're volunteering for these committees.
Greg, did you have anything?
Yeah, I by and large agree with what was previously said. I mean, I think you note in here that these define the minimum of scope, which I think does leave it open to, there could be more. I would just make sure that that's crystal clear to the committee that, you know, we're offering, and here's some suggestions, again, like potential scope reductions, not necessarily the full limit of, where you have to do all of these. That I would continue to leave the room for the folks who really know this world, you know, live this world. You know, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that the police and fire department have what they need to provide the services that they're so well to the town.
Yeah.
But by and large, I'm with you on the direction in which we're going here.
Yeah, I would say that we definitely need to have a charge that looks at Elm Street. I know that there's been already work done on it to look at it to see what is feasible and what is not. I don't think there's any problem in looking at some of the other alternatives there. And then also any reductions on King Street as well, or something that could amend what was designed there before. I would say that if the chart does need a little bit more wordsmithing, if we vote on it tonight, that's fine. If we can't, if we can't vote on it tonight and it needs more wordsmithing, I would just say that we do take a vote to expand the committee to 9, because we have some people who have applied for it, and we have to fill those roles after. So that's the minimum that we could do. But I don't want to have it go too much longer, because they have to really start their work. I would also say for the town that beyond public safety committee charges, that in the fall, we do have a long-term planning session, I believe, with the MMA, which means the Mass Municipal Association coming in with a number of the boards to go over not only this, but how to sequence all of the different potential capital projects in town as an overage, so that this would be, moving on the same path as well. So we didn't forget about any of the other projects in town. So I guess the question is do we need, beyond extending it to 9 people, do we need more wordsmithing, or can we get something to vote on tonight?
But it was at some things, like, for instance, I would take out a lot of the how it failed at town meeting. Everybody knows it failed at town meeting.
Yeah.
Accusing you well, but it's almost like running salt in the loops. I'm not saying you're doing that on purpose.
No, they just asked
But,
me to put that in there. Committee did.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's on the committees. I don't know. That's what I got my first glance, is that everybody knows it failed. And that's why we're back at the drawing board to a degree, at least at the eagle.
So I have one more comment, if you don't mind.
No, yeah.
So something that, we'll see in our goals later on. And although I personally feel the committee did yeoman's work trying to get the message out through multiple forums and postings on Facebook, perhaps include something about more targeted outreach, something about communication, because no matter how much we do, we always get knocked for it.
Yeah.
And I really feel like out of all the projects I've been involved in, they really did a lot of work. And in terms of, we've talked about trying to meet people where they are and pull them into our information as opposed to pushing the information out. I think perhaps some were in the charge, because it wasn't in the original charge.
Yeah.
We talk about that. I'm happy to wordsmith it with you a little bit. To get it a little tighter than what it is now.
That's fine if you want to do that. As I said, the only thing that I would do is just vote to increase the membership.
Yep.
And we could do that. Does anybody have any final comments on that before we carry on? Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we expand the Public Safety Facilities Committee to 9 members.
Seconded.
Moved by Paul, seconded by Greg. All's in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. All is opposed, none. And then I'll let Ellen and Will, you can wordsmith it together.
Yep.
And then for the next meeting, we can have it tightened up. Okay, next on the list, I know we've had a lot of people waiting for this, and thank you very much for your patience. We have the Public Safety Facilities Committee citizens member appointments for discussion and vote with interview and appointments. So do we have the list? And if we could see who's here and who wants to come up. Yeah.
So you want me to read them?
Yes. Yeah, we can take one.
Ben Maloney, Carol Bestick,
Yeah.
Daniel F. Duffy, Rich Fitzpatrick, Rich T. Hines, Leland Jenkins, Ms. McGuire dropped, Sam Brownell, Jennifer Chu. No, that's it.
Okay, maybe we'll take them in order. If we want to have them maybe come up and make a few comments, if there's any questions from the boards, just give us a brief background of yourselves. I know we did receive your applications, and some people had a statement with their experience, which is fine. And then, just tell us why you wanted to be on this committee. And then I think after that, we'll probably take we'll discuss, and then we'll vote. And I do thank everybody for applying, but obviously with the number of people we have, we only have 2 slots open. So I would say for anybody who doesn't get on the board, to remember our previous announcement that we do have other boards available as well, which we announced tonight. So first on the list, if you want to.
Mr. Maloney, is he here?
Is Mr.
Oh,
Hi,
please.
yes, welcome. Thank you. Good evening. If you could just name and address before you go. Yeah.
Yes, good evening. Ben Maloney, 26 Fair Oaks Lane. Originally from England, you can probably hear the accent. I have been a US citizen for a number of years. So it is quite late, so I'll be quick about my experience and background. I have a degree in engineering. I trained in the UK as a chartered accountant, finance professional. I spent most of my life and career working in the financial sector. I worked for Lloyds Bank, which is the largest UK bank. I was a finance professional there and ended up in the UK as finance director for the capital markets business, which is a multi-billion-dollar business now. I came to Cohasset in 2012 with my wife, Rose, who's from Quincy, and 2 young children who've now been through the school system here. And I continue working for Lloyds Bank, actually, in the New York office. I have a lot of background and experience in financial reporting, in budgeting, in capital planning, in expense management, in project management. And I think a lot of relevant skills in that area. When I think about the public safety facility, I think what people worry about is the cost, clearly, isn't it? I think it's, at the end of the day, a financial matter. You could say that the town did vote for the 3A Street location a year or so ago, but when the price came back, a multiple higher, and with worries that maybe that wasn't even the full story because it didn't include financing costs, didn't include the cost of refurbishing Elm Street for a fire station, people get scared. And if I look at what I would expect to see as a finance director when looking at capital projects, I would expect to see 2 things. One, a long-term capital plan, which interestingly you just mentioned. I think without that, it's very hard to vote on big ticket items in isolation. I know just at the most recent town hall, I was mentioned a new water treatment plant. It's obviously a very expensive thing. There was talk about refurbishing Elm Street as the fire station. But no one was willing to put a figure on that. So again, that creates uncertainty, doesn't it? So I think without a long-term plan, it's hard for citizens to really understand whether they're being voted for one thing and then the next day they get asked to vote for more and more costs. And I think the second perspective I would say is that, the plan for the public safety building very much looks like to me as this is what we want and this is how much it costs. Whereas normally in most financial decisions, you start from the opposite end. You start with how much can we afford and what can we do for that? And what are the gaps to what we would like and can we live with them? I think those are the sort of perspectives I would bring to this role. Certainly we'd be very interested in helping out.
Great, thank you. Questions from the board?
What kind of timeline would you want to put on that?
On what specifically?
On, say, police, fire, public safety. What kind of timeline? I mean, you're measuring long-term goals. What do you expect?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure I fully understand your question. I mean,
right. What would your projections be to getting police and safer time?
Well, I mean, I think the first question is that the priority for the town, isn't it? I think that's what citizens as a whole are not sure about.
So I'm asking, what are your thoughts on that?
My personal thoughts?
Yes.
I feel that there isn't enough information to make a decision. So I personally voted against it. because I felt that I had no sense of what the capital plan of the town was, where the public safety building fell within that list of needs. And therefore it seemed to me a very open-ended kind of either do it or don't do it ultimatum type request, rather than step one in a capital plan that everyone understood. So you don't really know what the end game is if you're just being fed one item after another. So certainly in a commercial environment, you would never approve a project that was so isolated from the rest of your kind of capital plans.
Great. Any other questions from the board?
No, thank you.
Greg? Will?
No. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Give the next,
I have Carol Bestick. She is here.
oh yeah, Carol, would you like?
This is just the order I printed them in, not the order in which they were in the packet.
Yeah.
They've been shuffled 18 times, but Carol was next to my list.
I, as a resident,
Oh, just name and address first.
Carol Bestick, 555 Beechwood Street.
Thank you.
And I have been attending their meetings for the last 5 months. So I am kind of up on where they're going. I think I, as president, have an input with the police and fire and a lot of the public people in town. And I can have some input as to what the people want, what the police want, and what the fire wants, and not necessarily what several other people want. And we need to take care of the police, the fire, and the residents of this town. And that's why I want to get on the committee. Even if I don't get on the committee, I will still go to the meetings like I do this one.
Great.
I am very committed to this town.
Well, before you go, any from the board?
Oh, I know Carol well, and you are committed, and thank you so much.
I'll tell you, I was at the hospital last night. And I'm here tonight.
Well, I hope you're feeling much better.
Oh, I am.
Good.
Oh, I thought I had appendicitis.
Glad you're home safe.
Oh, I am very, very committed to this town.
Any questions?
No, sure.
Thanks, Carol.
Okay.
Next, yeah.
Okay, Daniel Duffy. Is Mr. Duffy here? Is he online?
No, he's right here.
Oh, he's right there. Sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Dan Duffy. 29 Hillside Drive. I've been a Cohasset resident for 46 years. I've been following the Public Facility Safety Committee meetings on the Zoom. And I firmly believe that the town supports a new public fire safety and police station. And they believe the concept of that. The two issues that are causing problems are, first of all, the cost. And there was an original $10 million figure thrown out there. And that has caused some concern with, can we believe what we're getting from the Public Facilities Service Committee? So I think the two things that would drive the committee going forward are primarily the cost and building trust. And I think we build the trust by going out and getting several different alternatives, not just King Street, not just Elm Street, but look at other areas that we may be able to attain the desired police and fire station at less of a cost. My background is engineering. Most of my career was spent in that. I developed collaborative solutions with various other peoples and parties, and that's what you would have to look at here. You have to look at what the police want, the fire want, the town want, the police. Get those people together, come up with a solution that is financially feasible for the town. And I think that's what I would bring to the committee. So making it very short at this point in time. Any questions?
Yeah. Well, part of the process sometimes, Duffy, and thank you for volunteering. We're back to the other areas.
Could you speak up a little? I didn't put my hearing aids in.
Going back to the other areas, so, which I agree with is looking at what we have, but we have looked at every other parcel, but I agree, I don't disagree with taking a deeper dive into it. But again, you know, you said it's about building trust. I agree with that. I'm just wondering, but can you expand a little bit on the other areas? Like, are we talking about, because I've heard words being put out like eminent domain, I've heard a number of different things being put out there, eminent domain.
There could be some eminent domain, looking just at another particular spot in town, driving by the parking lot for the MBTA that has a 30% utilization rate. That means 70% of that parking lot is available. Could we approach the MBTA, the state, and say, could we strike some sort of deal there and see what the cost would be to building the facility there? I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm just saying these are the things we should look at so that we do go to town meeting. We can say, guess what? The best answer was the first one out here, but we have looked at all these others and said, we tried. And that's how you got to build the trust back up with the people, because I know many people I spoke to in town said, we believe we need the station. But what happened to the 10 million? It became 28 million. So there's a trust issue there. You got to build the trust. And I think the way to build the trust is to bring everybody in and be very transparent and step by step show everybody what we're doing. This is the way we're doing it. You know, and maybe we come up with some crazy ideas that don't go more than a crazy idea. But we have to do that.
Sure enough. And that's because as part of the board that presented the $10.5 million, I will say, I don't know if it was explained as to why, in transparency, it was designed to try to save the town at the time. And I'm not saying in hindsight, was it the right thing to do when by getting an initial analysis? That tells me no right now. But it's done with the best intentions, and that was explained that we not commission studies and spend billions. We thought at the time it may come back to price, and we hoped we get the building in at that.
Yeah.
But none of us are architects or engineers, and so we get into engineering. So I don't disagree with you. I'm just hoping that 10.5 is finally sailed and it's gone over the horizon and it's sunk.
Yeah.
So, but I thank you, and I appreciate all that, everything you said to me personally. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, anybody else have questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rich Fitzpatrick.
I guess.
Hi, excuse me. Rich Fitzpatrick, 2 Hammond Ave. I put in my application for this because I think building a new public safety facility is essential. It's really a critical problem the town's facing. And I served on the advisory committee for 6 years, and during that time, went through the process of Mary McGoldrick's town hall renovation committee. And I saw the process that committee did really excellent work. I saw what they went through, and unfortunately it failed. I think we all learned some lessons from that. It was great to see the presentation tonight on the town hall that we're finally making progress on that. But I think this is really a key problem for us to be able to get this new facility. When I was on the advisory committee, Chief Sylvia would talk about they needed a substation for the fire department. Chief Quigley talked about the insufficiency, not just the insufficiency of the space, but also the cells were out of code, or, things like that. And it just seemed like, we really have to get this done. I think I could help. So I put in my application.
Great. Questions from the board? Did you have any?
You explained it very well. Thank you so much. Staff.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rich Hines. A lot more to go.
Rich Hines, Clay Spring Road. I know some of you. I'm a retired electrical engineer, also a Vietnam combat vet. I work for most of the high-tech companies in Massachusetts as an electrical engineer and primarily as a project manager. One of my largest projects with the state was I helped design and implement the data center in Springfield, which was a complete duplicate of our data center in Chelsea, so that we'd be fully redundant for all the programs in the state, mostly HHS. So a lot of that. In addition to that, and all the other companies that I've worked for, I've been on the board of directors of this place, Elder Affairs, for the last 8 years, and I've been chairman twice. One of the things that I've learned being in a volunteer organization, which, as you know, is quite unusual. In a volunteer organization, it's great when you get the feedback from everybody, and you don't go in with a the designed idea of what is going to happen. You may have an idea, but it's the crosstalk between the other people and understanding long and short-term goals. And that's been something that I've learned quite a bit just out of this place, Elder Affairs. Actually, I've been up against the board on more than one occasion, as I recall. But again, that's working with the others and learning new ideas. And I'm pretty much coming into this public safety with no opinion. I know something needs to be done. I've got time to do it. I've worked with Glenn for years on other projects. I've also, if you remember, the Community Emergency Response Team. I was the instructor from FEMA for that to train all of our 45 participants. I was also the manager of that CERT for about 5 years. And we started from nothing, and as I said, built it up to 45 people. The fortunate thing is we haven't had any disasters in Cohasset, but we were planning for plane crashes coming out, heading for Logan and everything else. And we worked quite a bit with the fire department, John Dockery in particular, Chief Sylvia before that, and with Billy Quigley as well. So, as I say, I'm coming into it with an open mind and just interested in helping.
Questions?
Thank you.
Any questions from anybody? No? Thank
you.
Thanks.
Hey, Leland Jenkins. I feel like I'm on The Price is Right. Come on down. Little levity at this hour of the night.
Blood my legs.
Leland Jenkins, Jerusalem Road. I've been here about, I think, 48 years. I'm a graduate civil engineer. I have my own business for over 40 years, doing mostly small buildings and what have you, and ran some other businesses. There's no question what we've heard tonight when it first started out. We have to do something. So it all comes down really to money, to be able to convince people how much money they want to spend. And looking at the old building, either has to be done work in the old building or to do something in the new building. And I like the idea that the selectmen are going to give some free hand to the committee. That's pretty important to me, because when you give a charge to the committee, they follow the committee. And if they have better ideas, it may be hard to get that passed on. So I feel if the committee gets the right idea, my own opinion is we tried with the fire department on the left side. I don't think there's money enough to cover that. We can always do it in the future. Cost more money, of course, but police department is most important. We have the upstairs for other uses too. So I really haven't analyzed the economics of the building itself. But I'm willing to look at both buildings and any other location. But I think most people agree that the only other good location is really with the wetlands for the water department. So that's about all I have to say. Do you have any questions?
Questions for me?
No. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Sam Brownell.
Is it Sam and Zoom, maybe?
I don't see him.
Okay, well, we're going.
Gary, yeah.
You did not?
That's
Okay. And then our last one is Jennifer Chu. Is she online?
There's Jen and there's a couple iPhones. Okay.
Yeah. If there, you can mode.
Who's joining as a panelist?
Hi, good
Jennifer-
evening. Just name and address. Yeah, thank you.
Yep, Jennifer Chu, 25 Virginia Lane.
Terrific. If you just want to tell us why you'd like to join the committee and maybe some background experience that you have. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think I know all of you at this point and many in the community. I have been in town since 2015. I am a senior federal account executive, meaning for a technology company, meaning I sell into and negotiate contracts with the federal government. And I've obviously been very invested in seeing how we proceed with the public safety building. Like everyone else that has spoken this evening, I fully support the idea that we need new facilities for the police and the fire. And like many that have spoken, it's very important that we have an overview of all of the capital projects in terms of timeline and potential budget, so that we can understand what's feasible and reasonable when we're talking about a town of 2,500 households. I also agree that we need to, based on that information, define what a budget looks like and then work backwards to find a solution that we can support and will meet the needs of the community. And we need thoughtful communication out to the public. And I know that there's been many ways that this committee has communicated and that the town has communicated out to the community, but there's also glaring gaps which have been acknowledged. And so I've had many ideas around that as well as having a fairly broad network in town at this point. So I would very much like to be part of this conversation.
Great, thank you. Questions from the board?
Just one. You just said you had ideas on gaps in communication. Can you fill us in on where the communication fell flat?
Well, certainly the communication over social media has been good. That's certainly, and by good, I mean there's been a number of opportunities that the town has taken to outreach over social media. In terms of what the communication was, I think that that's been lacking, and some feedback around that would be that it's not about selling the town about what needs to happen. It's about communicating what's being done and why it is the most value add for the community. There's a difference between selling us on something and communicating what's happening. So that's part of it. Also, we have to acknowledge that a lot of people in the community are not on social media, either because they don't like it or because they're not accustomed to it. And there needs to be other ways of communicating. A particular idea that I've had around that I think is valuable not only for this committee, but actually for select board and all committees across the town, is we now have a number of publications that get delivered in print. We've got, I'm not going to limit it because I don't know, but I'm aware of the rec pamphlet that goes out, the library pamphlet goes out, the Wilcott Commons pamphlet that goes out. And I believe that if we consolidate and publish information that comes out to the town that gets delivered into people's mailboxes at a regular cadence, we will touch people more effectively. Certainly in my home and those homes of many people that I engage with, Paul Pratt Library newsletter and the Rec newsletter are must read cover to cover by everybody in the house. So we've got publications that go out. We've got printing that's happening. We're probably spending a larger than necessary amount on the printing by not consolidating those communications, and we're not using those to leverage other communication.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
No, thank you so much.
Greg? Bill?
Thank you.
I think you covered it. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer.
All right.
Do we have anybody else?
Nope.
Okay,
Yes, Mr. Cornell has shown up. I don't think that he has.
let me just look at my notes. Okay. 7, 8. Yeah, I think we got everybody. Okay, I'm just double checking.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got discussion now for the vote. How do we normally, so when we had multiple ones, I remember when we had the planning board. Do you remember how we
We had two for one. I don't know. We've done it different ways. I mean, you can make a motion on each person and take a vote on each person. Each can poll each board member for their top two candidates and then tally them for the overall top two, and then make a motion to appoint those top two. If there is a tie, then the board can, discuss and debate back and forth. There's no real set rule on this.
I think, what does the board think? I think we could generally poll the members and see if we've got a consensus, and then if not, then we have to.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I dare use the word shuffle around, but I think we just have to make adjustments accordingly from that. So we'll start with, when we start down this end. Paul, did you want to give us your top two, and then we'll go right down the line?
Top two, it's by listening, and it's, well, I thank everybody. I just think it's fair to go with Daniel Duffy and Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Are you gonna do the tally?
Yeah, I'm writing it down. Yeah,
sure. That does not knock anybody has applied. Please, thank you so much. Fact that Fitzpatrick on advisory and went through the town hall iterations. It's done with frustrations when you're trying to get something passed, and Mr. W seem to have experience in public buildings. So I think it's in minds and getting the word out to people. Both ways.
Thank you. Ellen?
Okay. Thank you to everybody that applied, and the breadth of experience in our town. We hear it a lot from people. I don't use the expertise in our town. We have a lot of it, and we do in many sectors. And to anyone who is not ultimately chosen tonight, I would strongly encourage you. And some of these applications did have alternative interests to pursue it. My two votes would be for Mr. Fitzpatrick and Mr. Hines.
Can I add something?
Sure, please do.
That does not mean that those meetings aren't open, that anybody can attend them and offer up their voices. It's best to make that abundantly clear, show that meetings or opinions are. So again, it's not denigration of anyone. It's great when people do attend meetings.
Great, thank you. I'll go Greg.
Sure. Geez, tough. Again, thank you for everybody who put their name in. For me, experience dealing with government and how government processes work is really important. I've been working in government relations for 15 years. I understand how government processes work particularly well, and I think it's important that the folks who work on this committee to get this essential building that supports our police and fire departments passed is of utmost importance. So to that, then, I'll throw, it's okay, throw three names, I can do two if I have to, but Mr. Duffy, Mr. Fitzpatrick, and Mr. Jenkins would be three folks that I would highlight as people I think could serve the committee well.
In this round, if you could just stick with
Just
two, and then we can.
Then I'll Mr. Duffy, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Okay. Will?
Yeah, I just want to echo that this is a great crew that hopefully those that didn't get selected offer up for some of those other board openings that we had earlier. Everybody has a great resume, great attitude, and seems collaborative. But I will go with Mr. Jenkins and Ms. Chu.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to break any ties or be on my own on an island on this. I want to thank everybody for their applying. I think the thing that this committee needs the most, and that's why I look for the fit, is I think it's on the finance end, and I do think it's on the communication end on both ends. In my first round with this, I would say after seeing everybody, and again, I know most of the people here, not all, and many have been on other boards that we've appointed as well. My two choices would be Ben Maloney and Jennifer Chu. And so I think, at least in the first round, it looks like we've got three for Mr. Fitzpatrick. So that looks like that would carry the day, and then we can.
And can you just tell us the tally on everybody?
Oh, yes, I'm looking at it. Mr. Fitzpatrick had 3 votes. Mr. Duffy had 2. Jennifer Chu had 2. Ben Maloney 1, Jenkins 1, and Hines 1. And so, but we do have 3 votes for Mr. Fitzpatrick, so I think we could make a motion and at least to that first slot, and then we can redo the second one. So I guess I'll make a motion to appoint Mr. Fitzpatrick to the Public Safety Facilities Committee. It was moved by Mr. Brady, seconded by Will. All those in favor state by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. Okay, so that is the first line. Congratulations. So secondarily, we had, as I said, we had 2 votes for Mr. Duffy, 2 votes for Chu, and then 1 votes for Mr. Maloney and Mr. Hines. So I think we can go from there and maybe reshuffle if it wants to change their vote as well, or how do we want to carry on with this?
You want to do just pick one of the 2 that got 2 votes, each one of us?
Yeah, I suppose we could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, or make a motion and see which one goes. Does anybody have any comments on it before discussion before we go?
Just anybody will be good. So I don't really doesn't. Yeah.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion. Go ahead if anyone's got one.
Well, I'll recast my vote from Mr. Hines to Mr. Duffy.
Okay.
Sorry, or was he here? Did he leave?
No, he's right here. He's right here.
Oh, no, I was saying Mr. Hines. Mr. Hines left.
Yes, he did, yeah.
Yes, no, I know Mr. Duffy is still here.
Okay, so that looks like that would give Mr. Duffy 3. So with that being said, if someone wants to make a motion.
Oh, no, you still have two more votes.
Well, we're only covering, we had 2 on the committee, right?
Oh, okay.
There was only 2 slots on the committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you make them out some more? So
there'll be a motion for Mr. Duffy for the Public Safety Facilities Committee, moved by Mr. Grady. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Greg Watts. All in favor state by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, none. Thank you. So that'll be Mr. Duffy as the second slot. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for applying to that. And again, as I said before with the previous announcement, we do have a number of openings on the other boards. So if you don't have the list, you could look online or call Town Hall if you were looking for some of the other openings on those boards as well. Thank you. And so we shall move on. So the select board draft goals. Wanted to bring.
You want a quick overview?
I would say a quick overview at this point. We could also.
Just slide one.
Yeah.
Rich, you got that.
Yeah, timed out on one.
That's cool.
Thank you.
Staying awake.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're almost done. So.
Move this to the next thing.
And like,
Well, can we maybe just like have brief?
Yo, he's giving the brief overview.
Do one slide. And
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Read.
Okay.
Injury.
I've read it. I just don't have the bandwidth right now. Get up in 6 hours.
I think what we'll do is if we read the first slide, we can carry it over to the next meeting as well.
Yeah.
Because yeah. But we don't leave people in suspense if they were.
Just this.
Yeah.
So 4 goals: capital planning, long-term capital planning framework, operating budget, transparent multi-year operating budget, public engagement, public decision-making, communication, community engagement, and evaluating partnerships and opportunities, shared services, and operational efficiencies. That one kind of has more wide-ranging sub-goals in it than the rest of it.
Yeah, I would say we had our goals meeting last week. We went through a number of issues. I think we will put this on again for the next meeting to go in depth, but at least we can give people the overview of what sort of the goals were. And again, one of the most important ones I think is the long-term capital framework, and part of that is going to get covered, as I said, in the fall with the MMA coming in, and then working with the multiple boards to come up with that plan. And we can go into further depth at the next meeting because of the late hour as well. But I think it's good for people to know that we do have a robust set of goals and how they're going to be completed as well. And then we can get into that at the next meeting. But that's at least the 10,000-foot overview of what the goals are. And again, we can discuss and amend them if we need to at the next meeting.
Yeah, I do have a couple of comments. I believe when we spoke about this last week, we really targeted on goals 1 through 3.
Yep.
I know 4 was on Will's individual goals. And I think the other thing that's important is you have to understand the bandwidth, because in all of the goals as articulated, there's 90-day benchmarks, and have town hall staff. We're looking at her.
Yep.
Okay. She's going to be looking for a director of DBW. We have an open vacancy in the town managers, assistant town manager. I think we have to really take into consideration the bandwidth of staff in terms of some of these 90-day deliverables. And that's why I would say that 4, although I think, and I talked about it when I first got on the select board, that we do need to look for opportunities. And we do a lot of regional sharing that people don't know about, such as the pavement program.
Yeah.
Okay. We buy with a group. Shrek is an example. There are lots of little examples that we already do. And I would table this because we also want to have goals that we can really focus on and achieve. And as opposed to being scattered and scattering town hall staff, because there was a lot of work for them. There's not a lot of work for the 5 of us here at the table. There's a lot of work for them. So we have to be really cognizant of the bandwidth and what's really important. We heard a lot tonight about long-term capital planning. Nowhere did I see any mention of the capital planning committee, the capital budget committee, right? A lot of what was articulated is really within their wheelhouse. And we can charge them. It can still be our goal. But we can charge them and say, this is what we want to see. And a lot of the deliverables they get in the application packets that we don't see, in terms of longevity and are there safety concerns, expected I can't even think anymore. End use, end of life, those kinds of things are all in the packets. So I think that, we kind of need to refine some of this and use the boards and committees. Number two, pull an advisory. I mean, I would pull them into this process, and help them become part of it. So I won't get into any more detail, but I would strongly encourage us to think about 3 goals, and the requirements on town hall staff and the 90-day deliverables that were in the packet.
Yeah, in my mind, for me, this was in priority order. So if we drop on 4, makes most sense. I agree. Like to take it down to 3 for sure.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say is that even going through that, when you look at going multi-years, whether it's long-term capital or multi-year for operating budget, there's a lot of caveats that go along with that, and a giant asterisk because, there's a lot of things that the town doesn't control with the prices of things. I mean, if you had looked back and if this was done extensively in 2019, and you were going out to 2025, imagine how much those assumptions would have changed because of COVID and everything else like that. So, and not just COVID, but also the prices, the changes in shipping, inflation. There's a whole bunch of things. And in fact, it was used as an example by our state senator that just on the healthcare costs in the last 10 years, the healthcare costs have gone up over 98%, in the last decade. So those are things that you don't control. There's some potential ways you can deal with it. But again, you're navigating. You don't control the ocean. You can only navigate it. So with some of these, even when we look out long term, and I know people say they want long term surety on things, you cannot provide those kind of surety on the prices as you go out to the extended years. You can certainly tabulate them, but they would come with caveats. So with that being said, does anybody else have any questions on these? Yeah.
Keep it. Give me for some stupid. But I walked out of our closed meeting, basically 3 priorities: public safety, all, and we put together a nice package. But I just thought we were gonna simple follow. Last year, I mean, I just understand working on this process and communicate for the town. I walked out of it with tangibles and not, something that we've been working. And this is all in the works and I support it. But I'm just trying to keep it simple because, as I said, public safety and town hall and budget. So, and I think the budget works into, to a degree, all 4 of these. And I agree with Alan where we do a lot of unseen regionalization as far as shared services, regional opportunities. And I'm not negating it at all. I'd like to get to something again where we're successful. And this can be, but I'm a firm believer in the solids, like a police and fire, like a new town hall, things that the town can see, use. Personnel can happily work and our public safety teams are safe and in the buildings that they deserve, so they can continue to do what they do for us.
Any other comments?
Nope.
Again, I think we can dive on this in the next meeting, and even
The front of the agenda.
at the front of the agenda for sure. So we'll carry on and leave it off for a vote and put that on the next agenda. Next is the update on the solar RFP for the schools. Greg Watts.
This is going to be a 30-second one. So the subcommittee group for the we put the RFP out. We did have one bidder come back. We've had several meetings with that bidder. The subcommittee is going to the full committee with a recommendation that they'll come out of and have a meeting with the school committee to discuss the path forward. But that's kind of where that stands. Announcement yet on where we plan to.
Is that how much?
That's being worked through.
So there's still more negotiation with them regarding an installation. Okay. Great. Any other questions from the board on the solar thing? No. Town manager comments?
Very
Yes.
just a few things. So of course, we want to congratulate the boys and girls lacrosse teams
Oh, yeah.
for their state champ.
Yeah, let's clap for that. Yeah.
Very impressive. I do want to congratulate the library. They received a grant for 25 laptops and 5 tablets.
Oh,
So
wow.
as we talk about freeing up some operation and capital funds. So they are applying for grants. So that's very important.
I'm sorry,
yes.
didn't they get capital funding for computers?
They got for some of them, yes.
Some, okay.
And then I do want to talk about the drought advisory for the homes in North Cohasset. It is a mandatory conservation measure at this point in time. So I just want to remind people of that. And lastly, I do want to congratulate Sergeant Schmidt on receiving the 2026 Dana Award. That recognizes police officers who go above and beyond the call of duty to protect their communities. And he played a critical role in the Brian Walsh case. So thank you and congratulations, Sergeant Schmidt.
Thank you.
Thank you. Select board comments?
None.
Quickly. Just want to tell you, from a board member who's worked here for a long time, Will, congratulations on becoming our official town manager. Really glad to have you and congratulations, Sergeant Schmidt. It's oh wow.
So is our next meeting
June 30th.
June 30th? Okay, so I'm gonna make this brief. We all received an email from a resident about speeding and traffic in the Norfolk Road hillside. I've also had communication with someone in my neighborhood. And so I just want to put out a PSA to everyone out there. We do have a townwide speed limit of 25 miles an hour. Certain areas are restricted to 20 miles an hour. Kids are out on bikes, kids are out walking, people are walking dogs. There's no reason to speed in this town. And I just want residents, student drivers, everyone to be cognizant that since the weather has broken, people are out and about, and let's just be safe. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll be brief. I just want to thank our outgoing director, Brian Joyce, for all the years of service that he has done for the town, who has put together so many projects that I don't think we could count regarding coordinating between water, sewer, paving, everything in between, and putting out small fires along the way. And as he's moving on, congratulate him and good luck in his future endeavors, and just thank him for all the town work that he's done and everything that he's done to make Cohasset a much better place. And again, congratulations to Michelle on becoming our official town manager, and in her career, being able to work her way up in town hall, and then achieve that is quite impressive. It doesn't happen in a lot of towns, and we're very, very lucky to have somebody who puts in all that effort and all the hours that it took in order to become the town manager. And then finally, for everyone who was here tonight, I just want to thank them for piping in on all the different issues with the town. And while there might be different disagreements on policy, that we are still all one town trying to make the town a better place for everyone. So I thank everyone for all their comments tonight, whether for or against different sides of any issue. So thank you all. And our next meeting will be June 30th. So I'll leave it there. There's no other topics anticipated within 48 hours. So I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Well, second then.
Second, all in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, none. Thank you.